very much for that wonderful, hearty Florida welcome. It's good to be here with you all, here in Miami, Florida. And many of you are from other places outside of Florida, aren't you? Raise your hand if you're from, you travel from someplace outside of Florida. Oh, they're all in the front. And you all look very exotic. Well, it's great to be with you here, and thank you all for the support that you've been giving us for such a long time, although looking around, it seems like you're all very young, and you were born after we were canceled. Do I see anyone that looks like they could be original fans? Oh yes, you don't have hair.
Oh, I was there. Now I have the solar panel.
Gray hair.
Are you talking about Star Trek or Heroes?
Yeah, we're doing a whole new generation.
That's right, it's multi-generational now, and that's the amazing thing about Star Trek. Do you know that in 3 years, Star Trek is going to be 50 years old? The golden anniversary! It's amazing. And this is all because of thanks to your parents and your grandparents who discovered us and brought you up well so that here you are, the product of the original fans and their children. Bravo to all of them. Thank you all very much for being here and having made Star Trek the incredible phenomenon that it is. And I am very grateful to all of you and your parents and your grandparents. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to be here visiting with all of you in Florida. So we have all lived much longer than we expected and prospered in so many wonderful ways. So thank you all very much.
Mike, they need you over here at this wall. There's a situation you have to deal with. But George, of course, you can continue.
Oh, all right. Well, you've all lined up. So why don't we begin with you?
Hi, George.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. What has been one of your favorite characters, aside from Star Trek, that you portrayed in the animation world?
And the animation world?
Yes.
Let me see now. In Mulan, I played the first ancestor. And I visited one of my friends who has 2 little girls. One was, I think, 3, and the other one was 4. And her father said, "Here's Mr. Takei. He was in Mulan. He was the first ancestor." And they looked at me puzzled, and they said, "Oh, you were the fat dead guy." But interestingly, being the first ancestor, that means all Chinese are my issue. And I'm Japanese American. That was a fun show to do, but I think the one that is the most fun of recent times that people here obviously love is Ricardio. And yesterday, this fan gave me a wonderful oil painting of Ricardio, a great big heart.
And follow-up question. Throughout your entire career, has there been any actor that you have the honor to work with?
Any actor? Yeah. I had many actors that I had the honor to work with. Just one?
Just any, yeah, or any 1 or 2, or any particular one that you like.
I have many, but the one I most fondly remember is my very first feature film when I was still in my teens. I was seen in a student production at UCLA by a casting director from Warner Brothers. He plucked me out of that and put me in my very first feature film, a picture called Ice Palace, a 3-generational epic on Alaska. And it starred Richard Burton and Robert Ryan. And Richard Burton was fantastic. He still glows in my memory. His co-star was Robert Ryan, and he was, the strong, silent type. He didn't talk too much. But Richard was this legendary Shakespearean actor from England, and I was a theater student and a movie fan and just full of questions. And so in between shots, I would pepper him with questions. And the thing about Richard that was so wonderful, he loved talking about himself. And so he would regale me with tales of working with Laurence Olivier or Helen Hayes or playing Hamlet, you know. And the wonderful thing about him was, you know, he'd be telling me these stories, and the assistant would come and say, "Mr. Burton, we're ready for you on the set." And he would say, "Hang on, George, hang on." And then he would go on the set and you know, tear your heart apart or break your heart with one dramatic scene. And the director would say, "Cut," and he would come off the set and say, George, now, as I was telling you, sit down," and he would pick up the story where he left off and finish. He was an amazingly charismatic, articulate, charming movie star and a theater star. And this, I say, was before his Elizabethan period. If you know which Elizabeth I mean.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're next.
First of all, it's an honor meeting you.
Well, thank you very much. It's the first time I'm meeting you, and I consider it an honor.
And that guy over there, Mike, he kind of looks familiar. It's that guy from Hangover.
You're able to see through his beard?
Yeah.
You know, when I was on my way here, I saw a homeless guy that looked like him.
Yeah.
Same guy. We didn't have that large of a budget.
Oh!
Follow-up question. Can you do one of your lines as Ricardo for Adventure Time?
You know, that was so long ago that I did it. You know, but these things air like months after I do it. Give me a hint.
What's your favorite line from Ricardo?
Oh my.
Oh, that's not from Ricardo. That's from Howard Stern. I'll give it to you though. Oh my. I gotta tell you, you know, I don't know, I do know how it became my signature. It's a phrase that I've been using all my life, you know, from way back when I was a child. But I did the Howard Stern show ages ago, and so he asked this buxom woman to take her blouse off. And you know, that's kind of unusual. So I said, "Oh my. My." And the thing that was unusual about that was she did. And when she did, I said, "Oh my, oh my." 2 oh my's, and they were impressive. And so he had my oh my's on tape, and so whether I'm on the show or not, whenever someone does something outrageous, all he does is push a button and my voice comes on saying, "Oh my." And that's how he made it my signature. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask you something along the lines of your work with your project on Allegiance. I'm a high school teacher, and I'm a high school teacher, and I often have problems getting my students to understand the scope of problems that the United States has had with particularly that time period in the Japanese-American internment. And I was wondering if you'd ever thought about bringing your project beyond Broadway and bringing it into maybe a classroom type, you know, giving resources to teachers and making something that would be more of a connection for students, you know, rather than just the boring documentaries that we have.
Thank you very much for what you're doing, and I appreciate that very much, because it is a rather little-known period of chapter of American history, which I think is a very important period of American history that people need to know about. what we've already done, we founded a museum called the Japanese American National Museum, and we sent 5 exhibits to Little Rock, Arkansas. This was in 2004. And we worked in partnership with the University of Arkansas, and we invited school teachers from all over Little Rock to join us with the opening of the exhibit and the symposium. And then we followed that up by the next summer inviting them to come to the museum, and we developed a teaching curriculum, teaching plan for these teachers. And so they've been incorporating that into the education program throughout the Arkansas system. So we've been working with the educational institutions throughout the country in small steps like that. Arkansas, currently we're working with Seattle and the state of Washington. We've also done one in Colorado and Denver. But with Allegiance, we dramatized it. We had the premiere of Allegiance in San Diego at the Old Globe Theater, where we broke their 77-year record for box office and attendance. And thank you very much for that. And another thing I'd like to pop my buttons about is we won the Best Musical of 2012 from the San Diego Drama Critics. And this spring, we're going to be opening on Broadway in New York on that. And don't you all think springtime is a wonderful time to have a vacation in New York? Come to New York and include Allegiance in that vacation there. And we hope to have a nice long run there. But if we're there for more than 2 years, we'll organize a road company, and it'll visit various cities throughout the country. And certainly for that, we'll have a promotional campaign before we hit those cities so that people will know about the internment story. And we haven't worked with teachers on that, but I think that's a very good suggestion before we hit a city with Allegiance to work in concert with the educational system there and work in something with the teachers there. And maybe we might work in, you know, a student matinee where students could be bussed in. But thank you very much for what you're doing here with the internment story. It's an important American story because, yes, it was the Japanese Americans that were incarcerated, but what was egregiously violated was the Constitution of the United States. It's our American Constitution that affects all of us. And so we need to know about that chapter of American history and its relevance to our times today. Thank you very much. There's that nasty talking animal, Ted.
Yeah, you're talking Sir Patrick Stewart's co-star.
Sir Patrick Stewart with Ted? What a combo.
Anyway, have you ever been injured when making any films or TV shows? What was your most difficult role that you ever done?
You would have to ask a question like that. I still have the mark for it. I was doing this was way back, a student film at UCLA. I was a theater student at UCLA. And the film was a samurai story, ancient Japan. And I was wearing this elaborate samurai armor, you know, with the shoulder flaps and the thigh things and the hip things and all, with the helmet and the horn on it and all. And this scene required me to, I need both my hands. My sword was here. Thank you. The scene required me to draw my sword like this, and then with a yell, approach my adversary. But, and we rehearsed it a couple of times. And on the take, I drew my sword, and I saw blood dripping off of it. And I thought, how did special effects do that? Amazing. And then I looked down at my hand, and blood was gushing out of the palm of my hand. I'd drawn the sword right across my hand, the stupid samurai. And when I saw all that blood gushing from the palm of my hand, this strong, ferocious samurai suddenly started saying, "I cut myself! I'm bleeding!" And the director said, "Cut," and they all came rushing and wrapped me around, and I went clanking into the infirmary with this gauze and handkerchief wrapped around my hand. I still, you can barely see it now, but there's that scar. Now where is it? Here it is. There it is. I still remember that. It was so, actually, it wasn't the pain so much, but the humiliation. Thank you. You're on.
Oh my God.
Oh, you don't have to find religion here.
It's such an honor to meet you.
That's so funny.
Heal, heal.
What are your feelings about Star Trek Into Darkness? Is there anything you would change about it, or did you?
Well, I thought it was a terrific film. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I liked it too.
But now you're asking me, would I change it? Oh, but I'm very expensive. If JJ wants me as a consultant, I've got a lot of suggestions to make. I'm not going to give it away for free here.
Also, who did you prefer working with, William Shatner or Leonard Nimoy?
Out of the mouths of babes. Well, let me tell you, Leonard, first of all, is a very fine, inventive, creative actor. Because when we were doing the first couple of episodes, there was one scene where Spock had to greet somebody, and the director said, "We need, something exotic because you're a Vulcan. What's a Vulcan way of greeting someone?" And that's where Leonard said, "Why don't we greet that person like this?" And it turns out he got it from one of the Jewish rituals, and so he uses his own experience and his own culture to make that character that much richer. So this comes from his Jewish religion. And then there was another scene where Spock was it was a confrontation scene, and Spock, they had the script said Spock punches him out, and Leonard looked at it and said, no, this is illogical. Spock is supposed to have great strength, but he also is someone who doesn't believe in unnecessary destruction and violence, and this goes completely against that. What Spock would do will use minimum energy and accomplish his goal.